Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another special edition of the Sokkah Podcast. Trent, unfortunately, is unwell today. He messaged me this morning saying, Joe, I'm sick. You need to carry the boys tonight. And I've stepped up. I've brought in Josh. Welcome.
Thanks, Joe. How are we?
Not too bad. And on top of that, I've brought the cryptocurrency master, Jason Davidson.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me tonight.
Thanks for coming on. Firstly, Jason, day 3 of quarantine, you were saying you're stuck in a Sydney hotel. What are you doing to keep yourself occupied? What's your daily routine? Like, how are you keeping sane?
Like I said before, it's a bit different as well because I got 2 young kids. My daughter's 5 and my son's 3. And you can imagine locking them up in a room and trying to keep them occupied for 2 weeks. It's not an easy task. My wife's actually done this before a couple of times because she's travelled. In the last 2 years, I've never done quarantine. So I've been fortunate enough every time I've travelled with football and all that, I've kind of bypassed the rules and never had to do quarantine. So for me, it's quite a different and surreal experience. It's quite hard, actually. My routine is the first couple of days, I think just the first day, obviously, just getting settled in. I try to get up in the morning. The sun, I'm actually quite fortunate because I've got a balcony. I've got 2 apartments, like it's 2 joint apartments. So we got a lot of space. I've got a balcony. I've got a bike out there on the balcony, and we're quite situated where the sun comes in from the morning, and then we have it until probably about 2 o'clock, and the weather's been fantastic in Sydney. So for me, I get up in the morning, have
so at least you can get a good tan as well,
and go spend an hour on the bike. Yeah, I came from Korea with summer, so for me, it was like, go to the beach. So, and the weather's been
so you're
fantastic.
On the bike. This has been quite a common...
Yeah, sorry?
Yeah, Melbourne weather is not the bit. I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan of the Melbourne weather.
4 seasons in one day, I always hear.
Yeah.
On the bike as well, Jason, because that's quite a common...
Sorry, you're lagging
there.
There.
Be a bit of delay. I'm just...
yeah,
I can hear you. Yeah.
Go ahead.
On the bike, that's quite a common thing with guys in quarantine. How many Ks are you doing a day on that? Just out of curiosity, is it like Tour de France numbers or?
To be honest, I've got one of those pro spinning bikes, so I can't actually see how many Ks I'm doing, but it's just about the program that I've got, getting the heart rate, getting the fresh air. Kilometers wise, I've got no idea. I'm on there for about an hour, different speeds, getting the heart rate up. But yeah, I'm not the best biker. Let's put it that way.
But being honest with yourself, how many Ks do you think you're getting each day?
I'm hoping at least 5 to 10. I should be.
If you're on there for an hour,
yeah, for an hour. Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. With the speed I'm going, I hope I'm not a pro.
No, as long as the heart's pumping, the bob rate, the sweat's going on, I think you'll be doing all right. As long as you're feeling gassed at the end of it, you're doing okay.
I'm getting a sweat on, so my missus has to keep washing my shirt. So I think I'm doing something right.
So, Jason, the way I introduced you, I said you were a crypto master. Now, on Twitter, you've tweeted every now and then about cryptocurrencies every now and then and retweeting a few accounts here and there. I've got a few questions. I'm into my cryptos as well. But just off the bat, what's in your wallet right now? What are you holding?
I'm holding. So I trade a bit, day-to-day trades. And then obviously I've got stuff that I hold long-term. Your main stuff like your Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Solana, and Luna are the big 4 or 5 that I kind of hold long term. And in that, I kind of trade when you see the prices going up and down, and it's been quite volatile the last, I think, month or 2. So just trying to day trade and make a bit of money here and there. I've been into crypto. I got introduced probably 2014, 15. But I kind of
pretty early.
I didn't know nothing. Yeah, I didn't know nothing about it. A close friend of mine he's been trading this from the beginning of Bitcoin. Just told me about it, so I bought some and just left it and forgot about it. And then probably since I went to Korea, I kind of got all my stuff back up and running and started to get interested more into it and started trading a bit. It's just something to do. I think it's the future. It's something that is very intriguing to me, and I enjoy it. I study up on it, and it's interesting for me.
Now, one of the ways I got into crypto was, I think you retweeted, there's an account on Twitter called like the Army Luna Crypto Wizard, like something along those lines.
Yeah.
So I think I started following his advice, and yeah, the first 3 months was like awesome. I got on like Luna Fetch, a few others as well. But yeah, the last few months have like absolutely murdered me. But yeah, I'm just going to hold on for as long as I can, then hopefully one day I can retire.
I think all of us really, that probably like January, February, March, I think it was like April-ish maybe, when we were flying, and it was too good to be true, I guess. And then came the other side. Yeah, come to the other side of crypto, and I guess you just learn and you involve. And the most important thing, someone that put it to me, is like we're in a stage where it's like Windows 98, 99, when internet just came out, and people, I think we're at that early stage. So even though you might think, oh, I've been doing it for a while, and we're still very early on. And if you hold, I think in the long term, you're going to make money. That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah, that's what I can't wait for, is the future. But yeah, like my biggest coin at the moment is a Luna Terra. Like I bought in at this is Australian dollars, 21. Then it dipped a little bit. I was like, oh, it's on like 30% off. Like I'll buy some more. And then it just kept on dipping down to $8 now. But yeah, it's so interesting to see, because I don't get it at all, but I'll just trust these accounts on Twitter, which probably isn't the best thing to do.
Mate, you're an accountant. That is terrible. Yeah. That's a terrible way to go. That is a shocking way to go.
But
yeah, I'm going to trust the process.
Sometimes it gets frustrating. Sometimes it gets frustrating because you see people like I said, I'm not a professional at this. I've got some close friends that have been doing this for a long time that advise me. And you see on Twitter, I'll buy the dip, and it just frustrates me sometimes because you buy the dip, and then where do these people keep getting money from? Because they keep buying the dips, but then you get to a stage where can't buy any more dips and it keeps dipping, and then they keep saying buy the dip. So you got to be careful on Twitter who to believe. I think shout out to the Wizard guy because he's a top guy. I speak to him privately, and I think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I've been backing him in since early this year. I'm just on the cryptos as well. Dogecoin. What are your thoughts on
that? I don't have any. I haven't touched it personally, but I know a lot of friends that have made a lot of money from that. I think everyone quite knows it's a hype coin. And in this day and age, really, if you've seen this last year, it doesn't really matter what your product is or if you got any product or anything. If you got the right hype, the right marketing and media behind you, you can rock it to the moon, as they say.
It's just marketing, really.
Yeah, it's marketing, really. But people think, Dodge, there's no substance behind it. But this, the community has been going on. I think Dodge has been about 9-10 years behind it. So people don't really know that. It's had a big community for a long time. And now, obviously, with the marketing coming out and with Elon Musk pumping it up a lot, it's just, it's caught the whole world's attention, and it's rocketed.
No, it's insane. I think we should get into your playing career now. Enough about the cryptos. But yeah, you've spent the last 2 years at Ulsan Hyundai. You've done a lot there. You've won the Asian Champions League there. But how would you summarize your time there?
Difficult, to be honest. I think it was probably, when did we finish the final, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we finished in May that year when I finished with Perth, went on holidays, and that's when I found out that I was going to Ulsan. They bought me in that kind of holiday, just towards the end of the holiday. So I came back to Australia to speak to Perth, sort that out. So I think I was coming off a 7-week holiday, and they obviously bought me in the middle of the season, which was tough to, you really have to rush and get the body up to speed. And their sport science over there is a little bit different to the rest of the world. It's kind of just throw you in the deep end and see how fast you can get your body into shape. And unfortunately for me, I think it was a couple of days or a week before I was going to make my debut. I tore 3 ligaments in my ankle. So then I flew back to Australia. I did my rehab in Australia. And then I was just pretty much playing catch up that year, that first half of the year. Then I went back to played a couple of games here there, but like I said, it was just pretty much catch up because it was towards the end of the season. Came back to Australia and then did another pre-season, and it started off really well. Played the first couple of games. I think I played the first 5 games, 1 Champions League game and 4 in the league. We were undefeated. We won 4 and drew 1, I think. And in that game, that 1-1 game we drew, we played the bottom team, and I should have scored a goal that would have won it for us, and we drew. And in Asia, they like to put the blame on the foreigners. So the coach was a bit upset that I didn't score that goal, and then pretty much binned me from there. A lot of things happen behind the scenes that you really don't really want to talk about. But sometimes in football you can't control a lot. You can only control what you can control, and that's your body, your mindset, your professionalism, performing on the pitch. But I think a lot of people don't realize that for that good 1 year, I wasn't even in the first team. They tried to kick me out of the club. They put me in the second team. So. And I only came back it was funny because I actually wasn't part of the first team for a good 6-7 months. And then they wanted me back for the Champions League. So I flew with the team to the Champions League, played the first 3 games in the Champions League again. Same thing happened. And then we went on to win it. So for me, as a footballer, you take it as it comes. And, I know that I was a true professional the whole time. Barring the first injury, that was the only injury I had, even though there were some media outlets saying that I was injured over there. And I'm just happy that I won the Champions League. When you look back at your career, you look back at your career, I've won the Asian Champions Cup. I won the Asian Cup with Australia, and I've won the Champions League with Ulsan. So for me, at the end of the day, if I look back at it, it's been a positive experience because I won something, and it's not something easy you can win.
How did you first find the quality in Korea compared to the A-League?
Still my question, Joe. Jesus, mate.
No, it's a fantastic league. I think the players over there, especially in my team, I can only really speak about my team. My first year and a half, we had about 14 or 15 national team players, current or ex-national team players, Korean, or the foreigners were 2 of us were national team players as well. So if you look at our depth and the squad, you had players who had played in Europe, played Bundesliga, played Premier League.
Remember the Brazilian you guys had?
Yeah, Junior. So he's in China now.
He was in the Champions League. He was immense.
Well, if you look at it, so our 2 strikers was Junior and Bjorn Johnson. So he's a Norwegian international. He's playing in the MLS now. And he was coming off the bench, and they were both joint top goal scorers in the tournament. I think it was 7 goals each. So when you got 2 strikers scoring 7 goals a pop, you're gonna go pretty far in the tournament. And we had depth. That I said it from the start of the tournament. I think when you go into a format kind of tournament like the Asian Champions League, that particularly was like a format of a World Cup where it was group stage, knockout stage. Everything was in a hub in Qatar. And you know how it is when you play a lot of games. A lot of injuries can occur towards the end of group stages, starting to round of 16 quarterfinals. And we had a big squad. We took 30 players, and like I said, we had so many national team players, and we had probably 22 starting 11 players. So as the tournament went on, we got stronger because we were able to chop and change through the group stages, and we just had a lot of fit players, good players, and we won it.
Do you reckon, like, because it was in that tournament format, were you able to draw on your experience in the 2014 World Cup?
Yeah, for me, it was an unbelievable experience because I think the actual tournament in Qatar was a pre kind of a test for the 2022 World Cup and the FIFA Club World Cup. So they were kind of using that as a preparation. So facilities were first class. The accommodation, the infrastructure, the format of the tournament, everything was first class. So when you kind of had that experience at a World Cup and an Asian Cup, you kind of can bring that and give that kind of advice and experience to the younger players. And we, like I said, we had a few boys that had played already in the World Cup as well. So the younger boys were definitely looking up at us, trying to making sure that we led by example.
And how do you find like the weather conditions there? Because that's one of the main concerns going into like the next World Cup. How did you find it? Although it was in like a different season.
I'm a summer guy, so like when I was in Perth, same thing.
You and me both.
Yeah, for me, I think playing in the heat and that kind of a warm temperature, that's something I love. I'm not sure November. When is the World Cup? It's in June, isn't it? That's summer. So
it's November, December next year.
Is it November, December
next year? So there's a whole break.
There you go.
Because it was too hot. It's the summer. Summer's when you were saying like when the Asian Champions League was on, they had it there, but because it was summer and it's too hot, they've shuffled it to December.
Oh, so we played the Champions League. We played November. We were there from end of October, November, and the final was in December, like I think 18th of December. So it must be the same time.
Okay, so that was definitely like a little test for the World Cup.
Yeah, and for me, the weather was it was fine. You can adjust, and the good thing about the World Cup stadiums are first class. They've got air cons in the stadium, so open stadiums with air cons, and even in the street when you walk out of the street, like on the street, they've got air cons in the ground, blowing cold air. So for me, it's unbelievable what they've done there. You definitely don't feel the heat in those World Cup stadiums, like the way they've built them. I was a bit skeptical at the start when they said air cons. I was like, yeah, but it's an open stadium. Obviously, you can't keep, I don't know how they've done it, but they've done it in a way where that cold air is circulating and you don't really feel the heat as much.
That's unreal. We'll touch on one more thing for Ulsan. How was it lining up against your old team, Perth Glory, in that group stage game?
Yeah, it was a weird one. Unfortunately, I was really hoping that we'd go to Perth, play home and away. I think that's when COVID just hit, because we were actually planning to fly out to Perth, and we missed it. Our team manager actually flew out, so we missed it by about a week or 10 days until when everything went into lockdown. But it was good to catch up with all the boys. Most of the boys I had played with were still there. It was nice to catch up with them, play against them. Unfortunately, because we were in that kind of bubble, we were in different hotels, so I only saw them at the game in the change room. Nice to see all the staff. I saw Richie as well. All the coaching staff were there when I was there, so it was good to catch up with them all and have a chat.
That's awesome. Josh, do you have anything you wanted to add on top of that?
Just probably one thing, probably a bit of a out of the off like the straight and narrow, but more about I've recently read an article about you talking about the transfer system in Korea, where they. You know what I'm going to go on about, don't you? So the clubs can forcibly sell players to other clubs if they get I guess an offer that's more financially attractive than what they currently have or something like that. I'm not 100% certain how it goes, so I thought I'd just put that question to you again and probably get your thoughts on that again.
So the ruling is, if two clubs agree to exchange a player, let's just say, for example, myself, if actually, it can't be me. It can only be a Korean player. But let's just say player A, for example, the club wants to exchange. The two clubs agree and say, listen, we want that player. And the other club agree, we don't want him. Player A doesn't have a choice that he's allowed. He can't say, no, I don't want to go. He pretty much has to go. The only thing is that he has to earn more than what he's on. So let's say he's on $100. If the new club pays him $101, then it's a more salary. So then he can't say no. They had that ruling when I first got there. I actually heard about it because I came in that transfer window, the midterm transfer window, and one of the boys, the goalkeeper, I think, we were just signing the Korean national team goalkeeper from Japan, and the other guy, they pretty much flicked him on. And I was trying to figure out why he would leave in the middle of the season, and then they explained that rule that they don't really have a choice. So the FIFA Pro gave me a call and just asked me my opinion on it, and I just said the same thing that I never heard or never seen that in my career. That's just something that was new to me. Every country that I had played in, I'd never seen that. But obviously they do that in Korea. They don't do it for foreigners. It's only for Korean players. And yeah, like I said in the interview, I think as a Korean player, or as a player with a family, especially with two young kids, if I can only imagine if I was put in that situation, how I would feel. And yeah, it's very very difficult. I don't think I'd find it easy to agree with that. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, 100%.
It just doesn't make sense. I think I mean, I guess from like administrative and a club administrative side, it kind of does, but also at the same time, like definitely from player side, if you're like getting on an age and you're settled at your club, like, oh yeah, you're going to earn $5,000 extra more, you're going to have to go. It just kind of doesn't. It defeats the purpose of just you like being a player, settling down, having comfort and everything, and you can't do everything. Especially like you said, you have a young family, and you go and you just I don't know. It just doesn't from a fan looking in. It just sounds so weird.
I think from me, the way I look at it, every player has their own situation. Every player has different circumstances. I think it's just about freedom of choice. That's the biggest thing. And
absolutely,
I think in anything in life, really, it's a freedom of choice of what you want to do. And everyone has a different opinion on things. And I think if you have to respect someone's opinion. If you might not like it or you might disagree with it, but at the end of the day, everyone should have their own opinion and live their life how they want to live it. So.
Yeah, that's right, because it takes the choice out of like how you want to determine your own career. But yeah, it seems, I'm not a fan of that rule anyway. Let's move to your time in Australia with Perth Glory. Me and Josh are both Perth boys. But firstly, how did the move materialise and why Perth?
So I think I've said this in the past to the press, and I think a lot of people know. I think it was, correct me if I'm 2018 when I came over to Perth. I got a call from the boss, Tony Popovich. He gave me a call to see. I was actually in talks with Jacob Burns before that, just to see. I was actually speaking to other A-League clubs as well, just to see what the possibilities were about coming home. At that particular time in my career, probably that last 1 year before I came back to Australia, I was tossing and turning around Europe, playing, not playing, playing in lower leagues, and just not find that I wasn't really happy with my football and life in general, and not having that consistency. So I thought maybe it was time to come back to Australia, be closer to family and start enjoying my football again. And I feel as a player, when I enjoy my football, that's when I play my best. That's my character when I'm enjoying football and happy off the pitch. Usually, I perform on the pitch. And then Tony became the coach, so he gave me a call, and yeah, he won me over in that conversation, and he pretty much was very honest and laid a lot of things out. And that was the reason why I chose Perth, because I wanted to work under him. I had seen what what he did at Western Sydney Wanderers, and the players they were signing. So for me, I wanted to join a club that had ambition to turn things around, create an atmosphere of winning, and they were very ambitious. So that was the reason why I wanted to be a part of that.
In those preliminary talks, did Tony mention this system and how he wanted you to play, and did that attract you even more?
Yeah, we had a chat, and I think it was more the off the pitch stuff and just the discipline. And can you hear me, guys? Oh, sorry. Just hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Hello. Did it just cut out?
Hello. I
me?
can hear you.
Yeah, you're all good.
Oh,
Yeah, I
sorry.
think it's cut out. Yeah.
Yeah, cut out from my side. Yeah. Yeah, just the we did speak about the formation. We spoke about the players that they were going to sign, and I think just the off the pitch stuff, the discipline, the hard work. I didn't want to come back to Australia. For me, if you look at the A League, a lot of people have this perception of the A League, it's an easy league. Like the Europeans, especially, coming to Australia, will have a good life, retire in the A League, spend quality time, good weather, good, have a good life. And I think if you come to the A League and you're not prepared to work hard, and you're just coming just to enjoy yourself, then it's not an easy league. And you see a lot of the foreigners that just that come and just take their foot off the accelerator, that they struggle in the A League, and the ones that come and actually work hard. Yeah, when they come for a holiday, they don't perform because it's not a league where you can just take your foot off the accelerator. So for me, when I came and when I spoke to Tony, I could see that he was going to create an infrastructure, an environment where it was going to be a professional, it was going to be somewhere where you weren't going to be able to take your foot off the accelerator. And for me, that's what I needed, especially at that time in my career. And that's exactly what happened. Everything he promised me on that phone call, he delivered. He delivered everything, and he pretty much just said that if you come back, I'll get you back into 100%, top at a top level that you were playing at before, because I don't think you're at that level at the moment. And I'll create an atmosphere and training that you can't take your foot off the accelerator, that you need to perform. And we're going to try and win the league.
And you guys did it. Just on that, you going back to that high standard of you playing, in terms of your career, where do you reckon that season holds up? You had the 2014, 2013, was 2018, 19, was that up there in terms of your individual performances, do you think?
It's hard because you can't compare the leagues, obviously, and the different levels. For me, obviously, the highlight, or I probably would say where I was playing at top level, was probably the World Cup, Asian Cup, that period. But in saying that, body-wise, mentally wise, physically wise, I think that 2018 season with Perth, I was pretty much thereabouts the same. My body was probably maybe in better condition, more mature, and how I looked at football was totally different to when I was younger. And that's because of the boss and the way he changed my thought process, especially off the pitch. Because I think with me, when I was younger, my biggest regret is probably that a lot of things, not that they came easy to me, but physically wise, I mean, I was always a good runner. I was always someone that had a big engine, and I didn't have to train. That was just something that was naturally, in my DNA. So I could rock up to training and just turn on the engine and just train and go. And I was never one that was going to be there early, or not one that was going to be there afterwards stretching and stuff like that, because I never, knock on wood, I wasn't a player at that age that was injured. I was just naturally lucky to be able to just, not to say do the minimal, I did all the extras, of course, and put in the hard work, but from the physical side. And then as you get older, You need
I
to
can hear you,
prepare
Joe.
more, and obviously eat.
He's back. There you go.
Can you hear me?
We've got him back now, I think. Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, you just cut out there for a second.
Sorry, it must be my internet.
No, you're right.
Yeah, so
you're not the first quarantine play we've had on. It's always the hotel internet.
Yeah. Can you guys give me 1 sec? I'm just going to get my charger. Sorry, I just saw the
sure thing. Yeah,
thing pop.
Do
whatever you need. Yeah. Shit, fair enough. When we get to the Australia stuff, I'll get you to take it from there, pretty much. Hey.
The Australia stuff. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So what did you? Do you want to go like Premier League and then Australia? Do you want to go Australia?
I was going to go
Premier
from
League?
Perth to Australia.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then what do you want to do? The Prem stuff. You want to?
I can let you take it from there, and then I can get all the Twitter stuff ready.
Sorry, guys.
All right. That sounds good.
Because what were we talking about? We're talking about like
Sorry,
you when you were younger, how you wouldn't go training early and stuff came more.
Oh yeah.
to
So
you.
yeah, it was just more what I was trying to say was, Popper kind of made me relook football from a more professional look, where he was saying that instead of just looking at it as you naturally have it, why don't you better yourself and get yourself into peak condition, better than you've ever been, and as you get older, to maintain that, if that's just eating properly, sleeping properly, being a true professional, and fully be into football. And the way he plays, the way he demands his players to play. If you remember that season, us fullbacks especially, we did a lot of running, and to be able to do that and back that up each week, you had to make sure that you were eating properly, sleeping properly, training properly, doing all the rehab properly, because it was a lot of running, especially in Perth at the weather. It's double the energy, and so like I said, it was just the way he was a perfectionist about every little detail. That was something that really attracted it. And I thrived under that kind of regime where I just wanted that discipline, and he provided that.
Yeah, like you guys definitely in the season, you got rewarded for that as well, winning the Premier's Plate. Looking back on that season, what is one of the standout games or moments for you that you'll look back on?
There's a lot of good memories, a lot of games.
You made me a very happy man that year.
Yeah, I think the game that kicked off the season for us was probably that victory game. Was it second or third game of the season when we?
Is that when you scored the last minute to win 3-2 or something like that?
Chris scored the. I think we were 2-0 down or 2-1, or I can't remember this. I think we won 3-2. We scored in extra time. I think it was the last few, and I think really after it was either round 2 or round 3. I can't really remember. I remember Chris scored the winner, and I think after that was really what kicked us off and kind of gave us that belief that we were a team that really could score at any time, even if we were a couple of goals down or whatever the score was. We had that firepower to be able to score as many goals as we needed to win. And I think the other game was Western Sydney Wanderers. I was actually on the bench the first half, I think. We were losing.
Was that the 4-3?
Yeah, I think at home. We played at home.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that game.
Diego and I were on the bench. I think that was one of the games that I got rested. And then I had to come on. I was told actually before that game that I wasn't going to play that week, was going to be a rest week for me. And then the boss made us come on at halftime. And then it was obviously, it was a great game and we got the win. And, those kind of games kind of really make the players believe and say, it doesn't matter what circumstances we're in, we're never going to give up. And I think those games are what win you championships because, they're not easy to come back from in those circumstances.
It's I remember that Western Sydney game specifically because the thing is we played good that game and the system didn't change from the first minutes to the 90th minute. You could tell every player believed in the system, played their role, and that's what got us all the way to the Premier's Plate in the end, I think.
Yeah, and the thing is, the chemistry with the boys, even my wife was saying that, because I've played in Europe pretty much my whole career, it's very cold over there, families and friends, like your family and friends and football is kind of separate. You're not all right. You have some close friends from football, but it's kind of a bit more competitive and cutthroat, and everyone, even in your team, kind of thing is like, you're fighting for your job. And in Australia, when we came back in that, especially in that Perth team, like we were having barbecues every weekend together, or our families were all friends, and we kind of had that chemistry where we were like a family, and you could feel that like in the games when one player would play or the other player would come in. It wasn't like he didn't know what his job and role was. Like everyone in training knew, and everyone was an equal. And if one player wasn't playing, the other player would come in and do the same thing. And then he would perform, and he might play for a couple of games. And then like it was kind of that, especially in that front 4-5 kind of, if you saw, we always like were chopping and changing. Like I think Chris went to the Asian Cup that year mid-season, and I think Joel came in and took his position, and Joel was scoring goals left, right, and center. And so you kind of see like one player came out, and the next person that came in was at the same level. And I think when you have that chemistry, you're gonna go far in the league, in any league really, because you're not just relying on your starting 11, you're relying on your whole squad.
Now, one thing I need to touch on is that semi-final against Adelaide United, where there was like 7 saved penalties in a row. I think one of yours was saved.
Yeah.
What was it like being involved in that scenario? Like, it was such a roller coaster.
It was funny because I think I was the sixth penalty. So I was the penalty straight after the regular penalties. And yeah, all of us were looking at each other, and I was like, yeah, I want to take it because I want to score the winning penalty. So everyone's like, all right, go, you go. So I was like, oh, this is, I'll take it. And for some strange reason, like I already had picked my spot, and I've taken penalties in England as well, and I've scored them all. And for some strange reason in that particular one, I changed my mind the last second. And any footballer will tell you, when you take a penalty, doesn't matter.
Golden rule.
Yeah, just stick to it. And if he saves it, he saves it. Like, stick to where you're going. And for some reason, I changed where I was going. And you can see when I hit it, it was pretty much middle to the left, I think. And then after that, I thought, oh my God, here we go. It's going to be one of those seasons where you have such a great season, and then you get kicked out of penalties. And then I think it went like it was just a straight, like couple of guys missed in a row. And then I thought, oh, thank God, like we're still in it. And I think it was just meant to be. We shouldn't have put ourselves in that position because we were comfortable to win it in normal, when we were, I think, was it 3-1 or 2-1 up, 3-1 up, and we let them get back into the game. But I think it just, after winning it on penalties, it just made it that extra. It tasted a little bit better, just especially with all that emotion, and it was nice.
Yeah, it was the most stressful 15 minutes of my life easily.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Like I was
my wife was crying.
You were there, Joe, weren't you? Oh. I was close. I've never cried at a football game before, but I was close. Like that was probably one of the most hectic games I've ever been to. Like just everything was nuts. And then you watch the highlights back and you watch the penalty shootout, and all you see on the camera is just the shed shaking, and it just it can give you. It gave me goosebumps and stuff. Just going back on there, just thinking about that you lived through that experience as a fan. But then I couldn't even imagine what you guys would be feeling like on the pitch, just going through it all, being like, shit, are we going to make it or not? And then you miss the penalty, and even now, it just kind of freaks me out.
I think the whole script, the only really icing on the cake would have been winning the grand final. But I think absolutely. If you look at the whole script of the season, winning the premiership, and then that semi-final, the emotion and the feeling of how the game went, and then having the first grand final in Australia, in Perth at Optus, and I think the script, it was just as players we felt it was meant to be. It was supposed to happen. Maybe not that dramatic in the semi-final, but we always believed that it was meant to be. And then unfortunately, in the final, it wasn't that cherry to put it on the top of the cake.
Yeah. Just to touch on the Final Four, one thing. You're probably up against the others, best fullback in the league against City and Ryan Grant. What was it like playing against him? Because both you guys got in each other's grill quite a bit that game. And just what was it like with two fullbacks, both play with your heart on the sleeve? What was that battle like?
Yeah, it was obviously we got into a couple of instances in the. I actually can't remember what they were about. I think it was just probably we are both tackling each other hard. I think from my perspective, it was just more to. I remember because the national team they were picking for had a World Cup qualifiers coming up or Asian Cup I don't know what they were preparing for something, and obviously with him being the starting right back for the national team, for me I looked at it as an opportunity to show how I can perform against Australia's best right back, and show what better way to show in a grand final full stadium, and to perform against him and to show my qualities. That's how I looked at it. I've known him since I was young, like the young Socceroos and stuff like that. So we kind of the same age, grew up. So it's nothing personal. It's just I think it was just the heat of the moment. For me, from my side, it was about performing, trying to win it for Perth, obviously against a Socceroo as well at right back, and just trying to show my quality. And that was my perspective. And like I said, the arguments we had on the pitch. I can't even remember what they were about. They were probably about some tackle or
just
something
on the
like
pitch.
That. But yeah, just pitch stuff. Nothing personal or serious.
The final thing on Perth. Where was your favourite place to go in Perth? Like restaurants, I don't know, bars, beaches, wherever.
A few spots. Papagello's was a place that we went a lot.
In Leederville,
yeah. I was actually.
So Nino, I know Nino well. Fantastic spot on the corner there. So, and then beach-wise, the beaches all along the coast is unbelievable. I think one of the best beaches in Australia. City Beach, I think we were there because I lived in. You're gonna catch me here. Where was I? West Leederville. Yeah, the training ground was in Floret. Is it Floret?
Floret.
Floret. So the training ground's there, and then the beach is what Floret, 10 minutes. Yeah, the 10 minutes down the road.
It's not far.
Yeah, it's not far. So for me, going down the beach, that's what I loved as well. Coming back, playing in Perth was like the recovery sessions. Going down the beach, unbelievable beaches in the city. We used to eat at a lot of restaurants. Everything like at the Crown, there's a couple of nice restaurants that we used to go a lot to, and obviously get my haircut at Salim's. So that's Salim, yeah. So Razor Cut Barbers on
Razor Cuts, yeah,
that's it.
On Hay Street and Subi.
Hay Street, that's it. Sorry guys, it's been a while since I've been in Perth. So yeah, and that's pretty much it. And my kids loved it. Just the parks, the weather, the people, relaxed. For me, Perth was an unbelievable experience.
Now, Josh, did you want to touch on Jason's time with the national squad for Australia and under Ange?
Yeah. All right. We'll okay. So we'll start like at the beginning. So it's more all right. We'll go through. How did you end up coming back into the senior squad? I guess because there was a time where I think when Ange, from what I remember, Ange just got appointed, and then I know he made a big effort to scout like Australians that were playing in Europe, but they were quite unknown. For example, yourself. I can't remember where exactly you were at that point. Oh no, you were playing in Netherlands, I think. You were playing for her. I can't pronounce the name of the team.
Heracles, yeah.
That one. And then also Mas Luongo was playing, I think, for Swindon at the time as well. But how did it just come about for you just to get in there and then just because you kind of just went in there and you just never looked back and you just kept going like an upward trajectory for a period of time?
Yeah, so I made my Holger Osiak actually gave me my debut for the national team. So probably a year or two before Ange came, that's when I made my debut with Holger. If you guys remember, that's when I scored the own goal in my first official game against Scotland. So after that, I thought, oh my God, never going to play for Australia again. And then obviously... Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we've got you back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Continue.
after that own goal, I thought, oh my God, I'm not going to play for Australia again. What a start to your international career. But then obviously I was involved in a couple of the World Cup qualifiers, and then Ange came and did that kind of clean out of that the older generation, and just said, all right, listen, I'm bringing in you like younger players, and really want to go to the World Cup with a fresh squad to prepare for the Asian Cup on home soil. So I was fortunate enough to be part of that. And I just kind of grabbed it with both hands, and I just remember that team at that particular time, we were just fearless. Just a bunch of young kids really didn't really deserve to be at a World Cup because none of us were really involved in the qualifiers, and just got selected and kind of had that fearlessness of just going out there and playing against the world best. And Ange kind of he was unbelievable at that. He kind of made the national team feel like, you to play for your country is, the highest pinnacle to represent your country, and to cherish that, and to not have that fear. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. Everybody's got two arms and two legs, and just because we're from Australia, he kind of had that chip on his shoulder to prove against the world that, hey, doesn't matter where we're from, we can match it against the world's best. And I think from especially us young boys, we had that kind of feeling. I remember playing at a World Cup, and if you look back at it now, I think, oh Jesus, how did I was playing PlayStation on game days like before, like not even like you're playing against Chile, for example, and me and Lex would be playing PlayStation, just chilling and relaxing, and you think, like, if you look back at it and think, oh guys, like you're 22, like it's the pinnacle of football. You should be feeling the pressure, like not sleeping at night. And all I remember was we were just calm and just relax and just going with the flow. And I think that's why we could express ourselves so well, was because we didn't really think about that kind of stuff. We just thought, once we crossed that line, we believed in ourselves, and would go out there and represent our country and try to play as to the best as we could.
Yeah, no, it was. I remember watching you guys play in that World Cup, and it was just something different from what we've seen as from previous Socceroos. I kind of felt like the shackles were broken, the chains were broken. You guys just were free to do what you wanted to, and as you said, like you're just free to express yourself, because even though unfortunately there was no wins, there was no 3 points, it was all losses, but just the manner everything went about was, it kind of made me. I guess it made me proud to like be a Socceroo supporter and to be Australian, because there's always that perspective that Socceroos is the third or fourth sport in Australia after like AFL and NRL and cricket. But watching you guys play, it gave me a good smile and made me feel really proud. But just going into that, I guess I like you touch on Ange and how he was really good at the motivation and internalizing and getting the best at you or motivating you. How was it in terms of training under him, like training method wise, and I guess playing Ange ball?
Yeah, I think everyone in Australia knows he has his philosophy and his way of playing, and that's what he wants. He wants to play out from the back. He wants his players, his goalkeeper to be able to be good on the ball and to play out, and doesn't matter how much pressure you're under, to be able to play out, and to be confident with the ball. And if you lose the ball, to win that ball back straight away. And trainings was high intensity. I think I actually trained with Ange a couple of years before that at Victory when I was in Europe. I think I was still at Holland, and I was in off season, so I trained with Victory just to keep fit for a couple of sessions. And I remember that was very similar to what he was doing in the national team. So I think what he's done right through, he's kind of stuck to that same philosophy and same style of play. And he's kind of he's taught the play, instead of bringing players that he wants to fit in, he kind of whoever he has. And with the national team, it's a bit harder than at club level, but he tried to teach all the boys what he wanted, and he brought in the players that he thought that played. And for me, he wanted attacking fullback, so for me it was perfect, because his philosophy was my game to a T, to get forward, and to be involved in football, and to have a big engine to get up and down, and to have that belief. And And for me, that's why I love playing under him, because he was another coach in my career that gave me that opportunity, firstly, to represent my country, and secondly, because to express ourselves and to be free. And we all knew what we needed to do in that team, like our roles. He made it, he was very good at explaining and make in detail what he wanted from every player.
Now, we've got some Twitter questions here as well, but before we get into them, what does the future hold for Jason Davidson?
Well, it's definitely in Australia, because that's why I'm coming and doing 2 weeks quarantine. So that I can say. So at the moment, I think in the next couple of weeks, everyone will know my situation. Obviously, I can't say where it is at the moment. But yeah, it's going to be in the A-League next season.
There are some rumors.
There are rumors, yeah. I'm sure there are. I've seen them floating around. But it's, in football, there's always going to be rumors. Sometimes they're true, sometimes they're false. That's all I'm going to say. For me, at the moment, I'm just in quarantine for 2 weeks now, just focusing about getting through that. And then once I get out of that, to tie up everything with my future. And then it's just about, getting into pre-season and enjoying my football again, being happy, and, getting myself back to where I think, where I know I can be happy and playing to my best. So hopefully I can, perform next season and have a good season.
That's great news for the A-League itself in general, having probably one of the best fullbacks the A-League's probably ever seen. It's great for you to be back. We'll get into the Twitter questions, but before that, the Sokkah Podcast is brought to you by our Patreons. You can subscribe to the Sokkah Podcast Patreon for as little as $2 a month, and you can receive benefits like exclusive behind-the-scenes podcasts, our Discord chat, and you get your name read out every episode as well. So that being said, thank you so much to Edward Watson, Adrian Benoza, Ben Miro, Neil Simons, Ryan Robinson, Andy Tin, John Morris, Harry Russell, Harry, Natasha Williams, Andrea, David Clark, Fraser Marnham, Glenn Oliviero. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting the show. And also thank you to our sponsor, Arrow Sport. Thank you, Arrow Sport. Now we'll get into our Twitter questions now. Jersh asks, what's your favorite crypto?
I'm a big fan of Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, so there we have it.
It's the big one. Bitcoin, Ethereum, like I said, those two, that's the king and the queen of crypto. So sorry. Yeah,
I'm not on any. I'm on all the altcoins like Luna and Fetch and Swipe.
Yeah, for me, there's
Cosmos.
I'll read you my top 5 alts if you guys want.
Top 5 alts.
You guys are nuts. You guys, mate, just keep it in simple, basic stocks and property. Keep it nice and safe. You guys are crazy.
Okay. Fetch AI, FET, Luna, VeChain, VET, Solana, and then I have to say Cardano, ADA.
Yeah, I'm up 2 times on Cardano, so I can vouch for that one.
Are you writing down
I wrote those down.
The crypto mentions? Are you getting getting? Oh, there you go, Jason. You're giving out of us to go.
Yeah, no financial advice. Yeah, that's just what I. That's what I like.
We got the disclaimer as well. I love it.
And we have a question from Ball Boy, and he says, "Who is your stylist?"
For clothes or for hair?
Or let's say both.
For clothes, yeah, I would say me. I've been someone that really likes fashion, getting dressed up. And for hair, like it depends on the city. Like I said, Salim was my main guy in Perth, and in Melbourne. When I go back on holidays and stuff like that, for the last 10 years, is Arena Barbers in the city. Jordan, the owner there, he's looked after me since I think 7, 8 years, 9 years at least. And then every country it depends on the city and stylist. It's usually me. I like to put things together. That photo, I actually that photo that you posted with the podcast. I'll tell you a quick funny story about that one. I remember for the grand final, we had a quick video in the hotel because we were sleeping. We slept at the hotel the day before the grand final, and we had Popper made a motivational speech and like a short little video about the season, like a motivational video. And at the end, he actually posted that photo. I can't remember what it was written up there, but it was just for a laugh. So somehow I don't know if he's got Instagram or if he's got Twitter or something, but he got access to that photo and he chucked it up on the video.
There's a snitch out there.
Had a laugh. So.
Someone snitched on you.
Yeah, someone stitched me.
We've got a few questions here as well. Let's see what else is a good question. There's a lot of questions about your style.
Yeah. No, you can. I was going through your Instagram before, and I was like, I do like this. It's the man can dress well. He can dress very well.
Like I said, it's just. I think just enjoy. If you enjoy it, why not just express yourself?
Exactly. You can express yourself. You feel comfortable and you feel good about it. Get you in that mindset, make like that feel good mindset.
We've got one last question here from Giuseppe Esposito, and he says, "How many wheat bix can you do?"
I have wheat bix bites, to be honest. I have those little ones. They're the ones that I eat. So a whole bowl full, really. I'm not a big fan of the original ones. I'm more the wheat bix bites, the little ones. So yeah.
There you have it. Anyway, Jason, thank you so much. Thanks so much for giving us your time, coming on the show. We appreciate it so much. All the best for the next A-League season, wherever that may be.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, guys.
And cheers. Yeah, appreciate it so much.
Thanks, Jason, for that.
We'll see you guys next time on the Sokkah Podcast. Thank you so much.